came from a school that was K through 12, and my graduating class is 29 people. And that's the largest it's ever been. I knew everyone in high school. I knew everyone by name. I knew everyone in the middle school by name. And I knew about half of the elementary kids by name and the rest by face. I knew every single teacher there, and they all knew me. But I loved having that small field. I rode to school with my mom and dad every day, and I did really well in school. So when I got advanced in high school, one of my teachers was like, "Hey, you should do dual enrollment." I was like, "Sign me up. I love learning. That'll be great." It was not. It was probably the scariest moment of my life. I realized what it entailed about a week before it started. So I knew that I was going to a college, I knew I was going to Grand Valley, and that was like my dream school. That's where my mom went, that's where my dad went, that's where my sister went, that's where my other sister dual enrolled. And so I was like, yeah, I'm so excited, I'm so ready. And then my mom said, "You know what, honey, we should probably work out the bus schedules." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "The city bus that you get from high school to Grand Valley." And I was like, "You're not going to drive me?" She said, "No, I have a job." I said, "Oh, well." So we got to the city bus, and we got to the school. 200 people in that lecture hall. 200 people. That was terrifying to me. I had never seen so many people in the same room. And I sat in the very last row because I got there late. You want to know why? Because I missed my stop on that stupid city bus. Because I didn't know that they didn't stop at every single stop. I had no idea. There's this little cord, and I thought it was just, a place to hold on so that if they stopped really fast, you would be fine. No. You have to pull that cord for them to know when to stop. And I realized that about 2 seconds too late. So my mom and I had to walk from heaven knows where. It was like the middle of nowhere, all the way to a Meijer to wait for half an hour for this bus. Thank God we got there so early. I didn't get to do my tour around GVSU campus. That wasn't happening. So I showed up to Lake Huron Hall. I went into the first lecture hall, the biggest one that they had, of course. That's the one I'm in. And there are 200 people. That's the exact hall that I was in. And this picture doesn't even show how far back I sat. So it was in the very last row where there wasn't even a full row. It was just three people. And I sat next to 2 juniors. And I didn't speak at all. This is what I came from. This is one of the classrooms at my school, West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science, hereby known by me as WMAS. And this is what a typical school day looked like for me. And this was one of the full classrooms. So I was used to very one-on-one with the teachers, and by the time that I got to GVSU, I had no idea what was going on. We weren't allowed to talk to the professor during class unless you wanted to be publicly ridiculed by the people around you with a collective gasp, an audible collective gasp when someone rose their hand. And if you did ask a question, the professor would laugh, which was very intimidating. And I didn't know that you didn't have to ask to go to the bathroom. So that was a fun little thing to learn on my first day of class. That's one of the class etiquette things. You didn't talk in class. You didn't know your professor. You only talked to the professor if you were dumb or if you didn't know what was going on. And that's about when I realized I didn't want to go to GVSU. I was terrified. I felt so out of place. And halfway through that semester, I wanted to quit. I got to the point where I skipped 3 classes in a row. And I had it 3 times a week, so I skipped an entire week of classes. And my favorite teacher in high school was like, what are you doing? You know that you're going to excel in college. You have to go. And I was like, I don't want to. I am going to die. I'm going to walk in there and just perish on the floor. But he got me to somehow want to go again. And I talked to the professor. I talked to the teacher's assistant, which is the person you have to talk to, apparently, because the professor's too busy doing things. So I talked to this really cool guy named Chad. He was really nice, and he helped me go through the first test that I completely failed because I couldn't pay attention. And throughout the last, I'd say a fourth of the semester, I learned the names of the people around me. I had a group chat on Facebook with them. We started studying together, and I turned it around. I got a B+ in that class, which I used to get straight A's in high school, so even for me, I was like, oh my God. But I was so freaking proud of that B+. I was like, hell yeah, I did that. I did that. But also, I did not want to go to GVSU anymore. So that's what brought me here. And Aquinas is so perfect because it's small and it's filled with nature, just like Wammaeus was. So it's not too big of a switch, and still being here feels so big. But I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm so glad that I took that risk and that I talked to my favorite teacher in high school and that I actually finished that class. Because without it, I probably would have been too scared to start college at all and wouldn't have known what I didn't like so that I could find a place that worked so well for me.